In this video, I want to talk about and discuss future maps coming to Warzone 2 and presumably to DMZ as well. So far, Warzone 2 is receiving a lot of criticism. A lot of people don't like the changes that they've made to it and preferred Warzone 1. Now, this could just be the vocal community that we're seeing on Twitter and might not represent the actual community thoughts, since there's a bunch of people who just don't even interact with the Call of Duty community on social media that we might just not be hearing their opinions on. Nevertheless, though, for the people who are critiquing Warzone 2, the big takeaway from all of this is that whilst they are not a fan of the Warzone 2 changes, they think that Mazrah is a phenomenal map. And I've seen a lot of people on Twitter saying, I wish Mazrah was in Warzone 1, it would be a lot more fun because the map is awesome and it's the perfect Battle Royale map. And whilst we've received Mazrah, a whole brand new map with the launch of Warzone 2, there is actually another massive, fully fledged Battle Royale map coming, but it's probably going to be releasing in a year's time to Warzone 2. As you know, there is apparently going to be some sort of big Year 2 expansion to Modern Warfare 2 that you're going to have to pay for. It's going to feature a whole new campaign. There's going to be new multiplayer maps, which are apparently going to be a bunch of remasters and others, but it seems like, according to the rumors regarding this DLC, it's going to be essentially marketed as an entirely new game as opposed to it being a content expansion to Modern Warfare 2. Because of this, maybe we might have to pay full price of a brand new game for it, and I guess this makes sense if it features campaign content, new multiplayer maps, etc. It's not really that different from a brand new game, apart from it'll probably boot from Modern Warfare 2 and the Call of Duty HQ. Anyways, the second map that is going to be coming to Warzone 2 is Las Almas, and the reason why this is interesting is because before Warzone 2 released, the leakers The Ghost of Hope and Tom Henderson were talking about us getting a map that's inspired by Mexico or South America, and that it would feature a remake of Favela on it. But then, of course, we've received Mazrah instead. Well, it turns out their leaks weren't exactly correct. They were just wrong about when this map would release. As in the campaign for Modern Warfare 2, we do see a map of Las Almas, which we of course explore in the campaign too, and we have some multiplayer maps that are based in Las Almas as well. Las Almas is of course set in Mexico, home of the powerful El Sinombra drug cartel, and considering we already have the full map showcased in the campaign for the game, Kalanine over on Twitter has pointed out that both the multiplayer maps Santa Cena and Gujaro, which I probably butchered the pronunciation, both can be found on this map. So this is definitely going to be a map that we're going to be seeing in the future for Warzone 2. And it is really interesting that they've already fully developed this map, so much so that they've already given us a preview of the overview, which means that they were developing Las Almas as well as Mazrah at the exact same time. It's just that Mazrah released first. I also do wonder if maybe there were potential plans for both maps to release on the launch of Warzone 2, but due to the fact that Call of Duty 2024 Treyarch's next COD game got delayed from 2023 to 2024, and we're instead going to be getting this Year 2 content like I talked about earlier, they instead decided to space out the two maps, and maybe even Las Almas was planned to be the launch map for Warzone 2 at one point in time. Considering they've already developed both of these maps, I wonder what future maps they are working on for Warzone 2, because Treyarch did put up a job listing stating that they are currently working on a new Warzone map as well as a new Outbreak map, so I'm wondering if we're going to get an Outbreak mode inside of Warzone completely free to play this time when their next COD game releases, instead of you having to buy the full game to access it. So it could be free to play just like DMZ is, which I think would be awesome, as well as the fact that I think we are going to be getting a DMZ Zombies mode. And during Cold War Zombies' life cycle, a lot of people were asking for a player versus player variant to Outbreak, where it felt a bit more competitive and you could interact with other people, and maybe DMZ Outbreak could be that exact thing. But yeah, they're developing an exclusive Treyarch designed Warzone map to presumably release alongside Call of Duty 2024. In the meantime, we'll get Las Almas. And these are all of the map locations that have been found in the files of the game for it. Now, some of these could just be placeholder names, so they might not be the final names, but it mentions a location called Mill, Amazon, Puerto, Mall, Baseball, Storage, Narcos, Favela. So yes, it does seem like we're going to be getting a Favela remake as a part of it, like was previously leaked. Nogales, Boardwalk, Historic, Prison, Compound, Power Plants, and also Airstrip. And on screen I'll put on the full map from the campaign of the game again, and maybe you can work out where exactly these locations fall on the map. I wonder if when Las Almas is introduced, they're going to get rid of Mazrah, or whether they're just going to have both maps live in the game, but they'll at least probably have both maps live in the game for DMZ, or at least I hope so. I don't want to just be able to play one or the other. That would be so annoying. I hate when they remove content. It kind of makes a little bit of sense for Battle Royale, but if they end up removing Mazrah in place of Las Almas for DMZ 2, that would be so frustrating. We have more maps to talk about coming to Warzone 2, which I'm going to jump into in a little second, as well as the return of Rebirth Island, but first of all, I have an awesome sponsored message to let you be aware of. This video has been kindly sponsored by Sir Whoopass Immortal Death, which was recently released on Steam earlier this year in the summer. Meet Sir Whoopass, the hero from the small indie studio Atomic Elbow, who due to a series of hilarious and outstandingly poor life choices managed to bring chaos and disarray to a utopian world. He must find the legendary villain-beating artifact on his quest to vanquish the Immortal, a mysterious recluse who, for some reason, is bringing down all manner of monsters and evil creatures onto the world. The game is filled with humor, but it's still an action game with combat, loot and skins also, which is the game's main niche. While some are destined to be great heroes, others swing and miss. Sir Whoopass is a try-hard hero with a heart of gold. Slay the beast, hack and slash your way through waves of orcs, skeletons, trolls, and other foul nose-picking beasts, level up and choose between a variety of weapons, each with a unique fighting style to accommodate all your gushing needs. Explore the world. The landscape of Wildwood is, for unexplained reasons, a host to various puzzles, loot, secrets, dungeons, and beautiful vistas for our heroes to explore. With lofty forests, green meadows, and rocky cliffs, the hero will excel in moderate adventures and garden gnome feasting. Venture deep into the damp skeleton caves and the stinky orc camps to find mysterious artifacts and conveniently placed loot. Visit the local pub, the Jolly Baron Inn, to get yourself refreshed between fights and take on quests to save the residents from the evil antagonist, the Immortal. Become the hero. The reckless antagonist, the Immortal, can only be defeated with the legendary villain-beating artifact like I mentioned earlier, which unfortunately has been split into 3 different pieces. The legend speaks of a true hero that wields all 3 pieces and puts a stop to the Immortal once and for all. Will Sir Whoopass be this hero? Why are there so many hats lying around? Who is Sullivan the Scribe? What is the Hovercraft 2500? And why is this animated picture censored? Find answers to almost all of these questions together with Sir Whoopass. The game has received outstanding reviews, with it being defined as hilarious hack and slash and absolutely brilliant. So what are you waiting for? Start having fun and check out the game on Steam via the link in the description. Okay, so in terms of more future maps coming to Warzone 2, like I talked about earlier, unfortunately, the Resurgence maps, the smaller maps that are a lot more multiplayer orientated, I guess, rather than Battle Royale, Rebirth Island and Fortune's Keep have been removed from the original Warzone, and because of that, the players who just played these smaller maps and they're not really a big fan of the larger Battle Royale experience don't have any alternative maps to play. Well, luckily, there is a brand new Resurgence map that is going to be coming to Warzone 2 that's essentially going to be the Rebirth Island replacement. We don't have a release date for when this is going to release, but hopefully it's going to be in time for Season 2, starting on February 1st. It's apparently going to feature 50 players Resurgence, and it's going to be used as a ground war map in multiplayer for Modern Warfare 2 as well, for 24 versus 24, and it's also going to be a DMZ experience, which I think would be a lot of fun to have a smaller DMZ variant. It would be awesome to be able to play DMZ on some of the past original Warzone maps too, such as Verdansk, Caldera, Rebirth, and Fortune's Key, but I don't think that's ever going to happen, unfortunately. It would be awesome to be able to play on a post-nuked Verdansk, which apparently was in development at some point in time, but I think it got cancelled. Anyways, this new Resurgence map that's going to be coming is going to feature multiple points of interest, such as water treatment, residential, shipwreck, castle, which is actually going to be a remake of the World at War map Castle, which we also received in Vanguard, and it might come as a traditional 6v6 map in multiplayer as well, unless it's just going to be a ground war map. There's also going to be apartments, power plant, port, greenhouse, town centre, industrial ruins, and beach club. In terms of the point of interest, many of these seem very similar to the Rebirth points of interest, but it seems like this map is a good mixture between Rebirth Island and Fortune's Keep. Of course, Rebirth is more of a thin map based on Alcatraz Island, of course, with Fortune's Keep being more similar to the size of this map. It is going to feature a power plant that could be a nuclear power plant, potentially the one that's referenced on the DMZ intel, and this map is probably the island that we see off the shore of Mazrah in the distance because we do see a castle on it, so that is probably what this map is. But yeah, I'm not sure exactly when this map is going to release, but it needs to release soon so that people who are big fans of Rebirth and Fortune's Keep have an alternative to play. But speaking of Fortune's Keep, I really don't know why they haven't brought it over to Warzone 2 as well. It was only in Warzone 1 for around 5 months or so. Why bother releasing it? They should have just released it to Warzone 2 when it released, instead of it just releasing weirdly at the end of Warzone 1. It didn't really make any sense. Why did they do that? So I really hope they have planned in the future to bring Rebirth and Fortune's Keep over to Warzone 2. Why not have multiple of these Resurgence maps instead of just having this one brand new one? It doesn't make sense. More content is always better than less. I can understand keeping just one large battle royale map so that the player base isn't split too much, but these maps essentially function like multiplayer anyway, so it would be better to have multiple maps in my opinion. But Rebirth Island is actually coming back, but not in the way you think. It's going to be coming over to Warzone Mobile, which is planned to release in May time globally. It's already out in Australia for early access, and I wonder how many players who are big fans of Rebirth Island will play the mobile experience just to be able to experience it again. It really sucks though, like I said, that currently there's no word of it coming to Warzone 2, but if it's going to be coming to Warzone Mobile, then I guess there is hope that they might bring it back for Warzone 2, but currently we have no official information, so we're just going to be waiting for that. But I really hope, like I said, they add a bunch more maps and bring back some of the old Warzone 1 maps, especially for DMZ, but probably the game will just be too bloated and they won't be able to manage that, so we'll have to wait and see what happens. Anyways, that's everything I wanted to talk about in this video. Thank you for watching the video, and make sure to subscribe if you're not here for the latest and greatest Call of Duty news and information. So anyways, thank you for watching, and bye.